Let's do this. Man, it's been way too long. Way too long since I've done an episode of Blindside Sports. My name is Emmett Douglas, and bad job by me because it's been such a minute that I have to think what episode number we're on. It is August 6th, very early August 6th. As I'm recording this, I'm talking like late night, like 1 a.m. Like last time I uploaded an episode was July 6th. And that was a Mike Harmon interview. So it has been a minute, and I apologize. And the reason why I haven't uploaded a podcast or, done all this, there's a couple. First of all, I've just been, hanging out with friends and all of that. Second of all, man, we're on the grind. That's what I have to say now. We have an absolutely jam-packed show for you guys today. Like 95% of it is all NFL related topics. We have some sad news, and then we have like one NBA story that I want to talk about. I might have more NBA in a following episode, but I'm not going to guarantee that. Now, if you guys are very kind of connected to the broadcast world, on Tuesday night, Major League Baseball and, fans of Major League Baseball lost an icon. Vin Scully, Agent 94, passed away. I am one of the younger, people. Like I'm 18. Vin Scully's been around. He broadcasted for like 67 years. That is crazy to me. One of the best to ever do it. Very good at what he did. Very, everything I heard, like when I listened to like an interview of Vin or, would hear a call on the radio, really good dude. I've heard so many stories of him being a very, very nice guy. And I just felt before I got into sports and, having a little fun, I felt I had to kind of give this tribute because the guy deserves it. Right. Like 67 years of calling Major League Baseball and the Dodgers is a very, very long time. And to be one of the GOATs, and I think the GOAT of, what he does, that's definitely Vin Scully. Yeah, definitely the GOAT. He, very good, very, very, very like really awesome life lived for Vin Scully. Like, he lived a very interesting life. I mean, very good career, very good guy. So rest in peace, Vin Scully. I mean, truly a sad day for all baseball fans, and a lot of people like have literally been like alive. Like people watch this dude as little kids. Like people like I'm sure some 75-year-old, started watching the game when he was like 5 or 6 years old or 7 or 8, something like that. He's known, he would listen to Vin Scully his whole career. Like there's a bunch of those people. So he really impacting dude. You hate to see this. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Now, I feel like it would be weird to not lead with Deshaun Watson. And of course the NFL is going to appeal this. Like they already did. But when the 6-game suspension dropped, if you thought the NFL was just going to leave it be, you're high, right? And I said this to, when we are all talking about, well, how long should Deshaun Watson get? I said there's a difference between how long I think and what's going to happen. I think a year, and what happened was 6 games. Now the NFL comes out and they're like, yeah, we want a year. We want either 12 games or a year. And Sue L. Robinson, who is a new kind of judge for the NFL, she will be, taking care of all of these situations, the personal conduct violations, and dishing out punishments. I don't understand the Judge Sue Robinson thing, right? Let me explain something to you. You hire a judge, a former judge, and she has a ruling, and you go behind the book. I think it's, it's weird to me, but I understand why they're hiring a judge. But the way Robinson looked at it was there was nothing specifically, I can't talk today. Nothing specifically in the rule books about Deshaun Watson's situation. She went directly by the pen and the paper, which is weird. And there's two kind of floated around options for Deshaun Watson. The first one is a 12-game suspension with a $10 million fine, and he has to get treatment, but he'll be playing in the season. The second option is a year suspension, no fines. He has to get treatment, and he has to reinstate. And you're asking me, I'm sure, the question's coming. What should he get? What should Deshaun Watson get? I'm going to go. I personally think a year would be the way to go. I mean, having him come back in the season after he hasn't played football in a year, like, you're kind of helping him out at that point. Like, Deshaun needs to get back on the field ASAP. So I think if you're the NFL, you're going to do that route, make him reinstate into the NFL, because, you just got to do it, right? And Deshaun, I think a year, and it's just weird to me with this whole Deshaun Watson thing is, dang, I smashed my phone on that table. It's weird because what he's taking first team reps right now. And I'm just like, what? Why? He's not going to be playing quarterback for you guys at all this season, most likely, because that's what the NFL wants. I think they're going to get it. You hire this Pete guy, Pete, whatever his name is. I don't remember his name, blanking on that. But the guy who's, hearing the appeal, it would be funny if this guy said 6 games or even less than Deshaun Watson. But that's highly unlikely. Like I said, it's either the 12 or the 18. I think they're going to go 18 games, which is a full season, and kind of just put the hammer down. I don't truly know if the NFL cares, right? This all could be for the media, the love, because, 6 games for what Deshaun Watson did is kind of iffy. And people are already starting to get mad at that. So you kind of have to ask, is this for promos, or is this for the NFL actually trying to, crack down? It could be a mix of both. I'm not going to say it's one or the other. It just came to my mind. And one thing I'll say that I've heard from a couple different people on this Deshaun Watson thing, and I kind of want to clear it up, because to me it seemed kind of obvious, but apparently people kind of weren't in the same spot as me on this one. And that is, look, Deshaun Watson, was proven innocent in the court of law. Yes. Okay. But he still has all these lawsuits out on him. And just because you don't get proven guilty in court doesn't mean you could still face punishments from the job or from, your school or whatever, right? Especially with Deshaun Watson, because a lot of these were just civil lawsuits, right? it's civil lawsuits. Most of these were. So yeah, of course he's like, he didn't get criminally charged. Most of these were civil. And a workplace, they have their own respect. They have their own guidelines. They have their own morals of what they want from a person, from one of their people, you know. And I feel like that's kind of widely, what's the word I'm looking for? Widely kind of forgot about, because a lot of these people are like, oh, proving he's innocent. But he's still 20. It feels five lawsuits, 5 civil suits, okay. We had a bunch of these civil suits. We had like 24 civil suits. So that's kind of this whole Deshaun Watson thing is very interesting. I like breaking it down, but it's very sticky and very messy to talk about, because people feel very, very strongly on this. Like, I'm sure I'm going to get backlash just from what I said about workplaces having their own conduct. I mean, shoot, they just don't want the controversy of having a guy in their league who's had all these civil suits against him. It's just the last thing the NFL wants. And the way Deshaun kind of handled himself in media, it didn't help him, unfortunately. He said some pretty weird responses, like nothing like offensive or wrong. They just weren't good. Like, they didn't help him at all. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios. Get me on Twitter, EmmettNosey04, EMMITNOSEE04. Instagram, Emmett Nosey. The show's Instagram, Blindside Sports 7, and the TikTok, Blindside Sports 00. I got that reversed. Bad job by me. I always do that. I have a Twitter, Blindside Pod 11, for the show, but to be fair, I don't use it. So you don't have to follow that. I'm more active on the Instagrams and the TikToks. Now, this is something that I do every year around this time. Well, not every year. I've only been doing the show a year, and wow, it's been a year. That's crazy. 45 episodes in a year. Pretty good. Is it 45 episodes? I'm second guessing myself. Hold up. I'm trying to, go over to the Blindside Sports YouTube channel and kind of look at the episodes here, see if I'm right. But anyways, while we're efforting that, I've been doing the show a year. I've learned a lot about, okay, this is episode 46, but I've learned a lot about media. I've learned a lot about how to improve my show, as you guys could tell, right? I've grown a lot, made a lot of connections. I want to shout out a couple people. This is actually going to be a big shout out list. So if I forget your name and you're listening, I'm sorry. Brian Finley, first interview, mentor. He gave me a lot of tips on the technical side of things. I wasn't really a computer guy until last year, right? Like, I did not know how to use a computer. Now I consider myself pretty tech savvy, right? Like, I don't have any issues with technology. I'm pretty good, right? Like, I'd say I'm better than the average technology user. But when I started this show, not really, right? I would say I was all right at technology, but I didn't know like how to record an interview via Zoom or even how to post a podcast. And I don't even know. I think I found Anchor on my own, but Brian Finley taught me, told me about the Zoom, told me about the recording, and he was my very first interview. Very fun interview. Really nice dude. I want to thank him. VJ Husky is another one. I just feel like when I work with them, my kind of the way working with him feels me to work better. All right. On this show, you guys have heard it. I filled in alongside him on other shows. I've been on his show, and he really helps me out. He's one of the guys I go to now for advice. Ben Maurer is another one. He was the one who kind of like got me into radio. Like I've always been to radio, but the Maurer Militia and Ben Maurer, Coop, Roberto, Eddie, they have all got me into it. Jonas Knox, just one of my inspirations, man. It like that's flat out like truth. One of my inspirations. And the last guy that I want to shout out is a guy who hasn't been on the show yet. Because of schedules, like conflicting schedules and life. And that's Bo Benson for, helping me with a couple technical things. And, we are going to have the swing shift episode. And then, he had a kid like that day, like his wife had. So, hey, but all those guys have really, have helped me in different ways, whether it be, advice on how to record or advice on like prepping or whatever. I just want a huge tangent, but all that to say is we've been doing this a year, been growing, and I've learned a lot. So thank you to everyone, my fans, the people I shout out, Fox Sports Radio people, sports media. As much as I rip some of the people on sports media, they've, taught me a decent amount. So yeah, been doing the show a year, and cheers to many more. First division preview. Now, around this time, we do this around the August month of the year. We do division previews because obviously training camp's a thing. The first real football game was played on Thursday. It's Saturday as I'm recording this, August 6th. And that means we are like a month and a couple days away from the first regular season game. So we have to preview divisions. All right. We're going to do one today just so, I'm going to make more episodes and there's going to be more in those. And the first one I want to do, I'm going to start with the fun one first, the AFC West. This is a freaking playground of a division, bro. This division is stacked so high. Like all these teams, when I pick who I'm going to pick to win this division, I'm going to doubt it for so long because the division is just so stacked, right? You got the Chargers who brought in, Khalil Mack, Chargers, the Chargers get better every year. And they get Justin Herbert, weapons he deserves, more weapons he deserves every year. Right? So, like, I really like the Chargers. Like, I think they're going to win the division. I think Justin Herbert is going to have a field day, bro. I think Justin Herbert's going to step up once again. Justin Herbert improves every year. Justin Herbert is gonna definitely carry this team. The Chargers are, it's not even Herbert that was the issue. Like going for it on fourth down, like the whole Brandon Staley crap. Like there's some play calling issues that could be fixed, and I think it's gonna get worked out. And with the just Justin Herbert being Justin Herbert, getting better and better and better and better every year is enough, for the Chargers to win this division, right? Chargers, big old sleepers. Number two, it's kind of a gamble because like we saw Josh McDaniels did in Denver, and that is the Las Vegas, Nevada, the Vegas Raiders. All right. I think they'll be second in this division. I think the Chargers are going to go 11-6. I think they're going to be a tough, like all these, like it's such a tough schedule for all these teams. If you're the Chargers, you got to play Mahomes, Carr, and Wilson twice. Like very, very hard kind of schedule for all these guys. Raiders, they've had, like, they were damn near, like, they were good last year. Obviously you add the addition of the best receiver in the NFL, Devontae Adams, with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, like, he's an average, good quarterback, like, serviceable. But adding Devontae is just gonna, like, this Raiders offense, like Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, you got Devontae now. They also put in, signed up Chandler Jones on that D. Like, the Raiders, I really like what they're doing. I think, Josh McDaniels is, I mean, this Raiders team, like, there's no way he can, shoot, if he makes the Raiders look like ass, then it's all on him. Like, this Raiders team is too good. Not like, it would be I wouldn't be shocked if they did sneak past the Chargers, and I was not high on the Raiders. I still had the Chiefs ahead of the Raiders for a little bit. My opinions have changed. Speaking of, and the other Raiders are going to go 10-7. Chiefs, I have them at third. Pretty self-explanatory. I think there's going to be a little bit of drop in offense due to the Tyreek Hill leaving thing. Travis Kelce, he's still good, but he's still like one of the best tight in the league. But I feel like people are going to guard him more. I mean, you don't got to worry about Tyreek. But the thing that scares me with this pick, though, is the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs always find something new as a weapon. Like, they got, like, that's just the Chiefs and Andy Reid way of things. I have them also at 10-7. Mahomes is obviously gonna have a great year. Like, that's just not a doubt. But not having Tyreek Hill and a couple of these games could come down. Like the Chiefs they're always gonna be a fighter team. It's always gonna be close when you play the Chiefs, right? If you're a good team, like, they're obviously gonna blow out some of the crappier teams or even some of the middle of the road teams. But not having Tyreek Hill in big moments in close games could be a little bit of a bad thing. All right. And last but not least, the team that made the biggest move in the offseason, and that is Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Going on a 9-8 record. I just feel like the division is really tough on Wilson. New setup in for the Broncos. Never seen what Nathaniel Hackett can do. Sutton, injury prone. Judy, injury prone. Better offensive line than Seattle. Comes down to a tough that tough division. Like, they could get outstarred by, like, the Raiders or the Chargers, the Chiefs. Like, it comes down to the AFC West for real. It's just how it goes down. Like, the AFC West is just, it's so freaking stacked. Like, it really is. I had the Broncos at 9-8. They're gonna be good. They're gonna definitely make some noise. They're definitely gonna challenge some teams. But hey, the AFC West is one of the best divisions we have seen in a very long time. And I actually bet money on this on the Broncos fishing last. I threw $20 on it with a friend because he was like, "Yo, like, you are delusional. Like, they're not fishing last." I think they are, just because the division is so stacked, right? Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming from the Blindside Studios. Get me on Twitter at EmmettNosi04. Follow the show on social media. If you're new, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify, follow the podcast. Turn on, or is it like? I think it's follow. I don't know. They all have different languages, but show some love to the podcast wherever you're listening. Turn on the notifications. Follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is. on your preferred app. Share it to your homies because word of mouth advertising is the best. Because look, if your homie's like, dude, this podcast is pretty nice, I want you to check it out, they're definitely going like, they're like, oh, okay. But if it's me just gassing it up, send it to everybody, you know, like self-promoting and like, then no one likes it. But if I get recommended from, you know, word of the mouth, hey, my homies would love that. Now Keenan Allen kind of said something a little funny the other day. I saw this on Twitter. He thinks he's the second best receiver in the league. And I just had to laugh at this. Like, you're lucky if you're like Mike Williams is starting to pass Keenan Allen. For real. Right? Like Mike Williams is actually starting to pass Keenan Allen. Like he really called himself the second best receiver in the league. Like you got Tay, Devontae Adams, like Tyreek. No Tyreek. Like I can name a bunch of receivers who are better than Keenan. DeAndre Hopkins. This is not in order, by the way. I'm just Tyreek Hill, Debo, Stephon, Jamar Chase. Who, bro? Cooper Kupp, definitely better. I mean, Cooper Kupp he's such a good talent. Like that dude's incredible. Like certainly it's like the burners or anything. Just he's smart. That boy has a good football IQ. I'm not gonna name receivers all day, but you know, look, Keenan Allen isn't the second receiver in the league. I just had to laugh at that story and I had to talk about it. The next thing we want to get into on Blindside Sports, like I said, jam-packed show today, man. Should the Browns pursue Jimmy G if the Deshaun Watson suspension is a full season? Now, obviously, Jimmy G is a good regular season quarterback, a great regular season quarterback. But I feel like in playoffs, he seizes to fail the moment, right? Like he seizes to kind of do what's right and win. You know, like obviously he was in the Super Bowl in 2020 2020, but up by 10, blew the lead. You know, injuries, which, you know, when he's healthy, he's good. But the issue with Jimmy is what he does in the playoffs. He's serviceable. But, you know, look, I get there close to the Super Bowl. I get that. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for this by Niners fans, but I don't care. I don't care. The Packers choked. The Cowboys are doing some stupid crap. Jimmy G threw an interception in the fourth quarter of that Cowboys game. But I like the move because he's better than Jacoby Brissett, right? This is football. We're going by who's better. I mean, it's a 1-year deal. Browns have a great roster. I mean, if you're Jimmy G, you want to go play in Cleveland for a year, show out, show you're worth something, and then go get your payday. You're gonna get Jimmy G on a pretty, you know, not a big trade, because the thing is, if he had buzz around him, he would have been gone. The team would have snagged him. The Commanders would have snagged him. The who needs the Commanders would have snagged him, or the Falcons would have snagged him, or like the Colts was before Matt Ryan was snagged to him. The Steelers was snagged. Somebody would have snagged him, right? And it was due to that shoulder surgery. And now, I mean, look, I understand their point. And hey, he's getting paid $27 million, which seems like a lot. It is a lot, but the Browns, I was looking this up when I was like researching the story because I heard like a rumor about it and I'm like, no, what? So I did some more research. The Browns have a surprising amount of cap. They have $48 million freed up. Like that's something. Like I was shocked when I read that. I was like, huh? I was like, Like, it's just crazy to me, right? Like, wow. Emmett Douglas on Blindside Sports. And yes, the Browns definitely should go after Jimmy G. Get it, get that kind of better kind of middle ground just from Deshaun to Jacoby. You don't really have like draft, like you're not gonna tank for like the number one pick. Like your roster is too good for that. So why not have Jimmy G come in for a year? Because he's a good player. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts on that whole Jimmy G thing. Emmett Douglas here. Now, very interesting and kind of concerning story broke on Thursday for Los Angeles Rams fan and Los Angeles Rams players, and that is Matthew Stafford, their quarterback who led them to the Super Bowl last year, is dealing with tendonitis in a throwing elbow. And Sean McVay said that is a very, it's not very common for quarterbacks. Apparently, it's an operation. He had an operation on this during the offseason, and it's already come back to bother him. So the question here is, how concerned am I for the Rams with this Matthew Stafford injury? If I had to put it on a scale 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm not like too concerned, like overreacted, freaking out concerned, but I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm concerned. Let me tell you why I'm concerned. First of all, if you get an operation that is supposed to fix the issue and it's coming back, then that's something to keep an eye on, right? Like, you get an surgery done to fix it, and you're already having the same issue. Like, what? Like, it's something to worry about. 34 years old, right? Like, that's not old in like real life or whatever. But starting to get to the age where stuff takes longer to heal. This has been a reoccurring issue for Stafford for a very, very long time, right? Like, I think it started like last season. So, I mean, apparently it's he's not doing all the training camps or preseason games, which is a safe move. Let him have this month because we're a month away from the season to heal up, get his elbow right so he could throw the ball. But I wouldn't be shocked if he was lurking on the injury report a lot, like questionable, or Matthew Stafford is out not practicing today because of this. Like I feel like this has a chance to be lingering. And look, I don't think it's gonna cost them a whole season, right? Like I don't think the Rams are gonna be kind of out of it, but it could be a little hurdle they have to jump, right? I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's something you have to look forward to and kind of prep for if you're the Rams, right? I mean, it's not looking like it's he's gonna miss time, but 34 years old, first of all. Second of all, it's a reoccurring thing. So you kind of have to wonder, hey, could he miss a little bit of time? Could this come back and bother him throughout the year? It's just stuff y'all have to look at because the Rams are in win now mode. So they can't really afford Matthew Stafford to crap the bed and have a bad injury. And the Browns or the Rams, I think they have to kind of prepare for it, right? Kind of maybe see what happens, in a month from now. But it's definitely a possibility, and it's something that they should keep about. But I'm not too worried. I give it a 5 out of 10. It's just something you have to think about. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you just have to realign the possibilities with the kind of situation he's in, right? Reoccurring thing in age. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios. Get me on Twitter at EmmettNoC04. If you ever want to tweet about what I say, go ahead and do it. If you want to tweet at me, up to say, so you disagree with something that I said on the show, or you like something I said on the show, or you have a question, tweet at me. I'm very interactive on Twitter. I respond to most people, unless you like say something like a little rude. I ain't gonna respond. I ain't gonna give you the time of day unless, and I'll give you like a troll response. But but if you want to talk sports or anything, or just hit me up on Twitter. All right, I'll probably reply to you. Now let's dive into one of the weirder stories that the NFL has graced us with. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has graced us with through the NFL. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Aaron Rodgers basically the other day he was saying that he's using a psychedelic drug, and I can't remember the name of it, but what he's claiming is that, it's giving him a little bit of love, right? It's making him self-cleanse. It is right for the mind. All right. Aaron Rodgers is saying that, and this guy sneakily be like, no one talks about, like, if this was Kyrie Irving, people would be on this dude's head, right? Like, people on Aaron, but dude, this would be, I feel like this would just, if this was Kyrie or like someone like that who already has like the kind of weird vibe, they'd be getting flamed for this. But realistically, I mean, clearly, I think Aaron Rodgers, he's like, if this is like a drug he can't do, or like he's gonna get like popped for, I don't think he's gonna just go out there on like a podcast and be like, I do psychedelic drugs, when it can get him in trouble like that. So like that's a thing. But then again, kids consume the NFL, right? NFL is catered to everybody, and you go on and you talk about psychs, like doing psychedelic drugs, and you're giving them a good name. I mean, hey man, look, like there's been some studies. We're not gonna get into that here because we're a sports show, but you just can't be promoting stuff like that. Like he was gassing it up like the Popeyes chicken sandwich. You can't you can't really say stuff like that about drugs that's getting you peace of mind. Like, come on, dude. Aaron Rodgers is sneakily becoming the interesting character of the NFL. Very sneaky. Like, and it's gotten like bad the past year. Like, that's when I've really started to notice what this dude's been doing. Like, I even like what was it? Like the first one was like the Jeopardy thing, and then like the whole like vaccine kind of, he got some like off market like I don't even know what it was, like some stupid off market COVID treatment thing that like immuned him from COVID. Like, this guy, he was on some stupid, like some very interesting things. And then like we had the full body cleanse, which was right before he committed to the Green Bay Packers. And then he had this one, which I think it's the most interesting, the psychedelic drug situation. I never think I'd be talking about psychedelic drugs on this podcast, but I guess you could talk about anything on a given day, right? And this is the beauty of the NFL. This is the beauty of sports, right? Like, we're talking about, like, people on national radio are talking about drugs. Like, how weird is that? Like, that's the type of content you get when Aaron Rodgers is a superstar quarterback. But hey, I guess people do that. Emmett Douglas right here on the on Blindside Sports, coming to you live from the Blindside Studios. Now, how about this? Right? There's a 3-team trade going around in the NBA that is interesting. It involves the Los Angeles Lakers. It involves the New York Knicks, and it involves the Utah Jazz. And essentially what this trade does is sends a lot of draft compensation to Utah, and Utah will be receiving Russell Westbrook and will be taking on his 1 year, like $47 million deal. The Lakers get like Jordan Clarkson and a couple other role players because, like, let's be real, the Lakers need role players badly. Like, the Lakers need to clear that $47 million contract. Like, clearly Russell Westbrook's not working out there on the Lakers. I mean, I said this when the trade happened on my first ever show, ironically. The Lakers need shooting. So like these role players can deliver that. And then obviously the Knicks get Donovan Mitchell. My thoughts on this. We're gonna go with the Lakers here first because they're the big market team. Well, the Knicks are too. It's two big market teams. That's kind of cool. But the Lakers, I don't think they want to run it back with Westbrook with how embarrassing their season was last year, having the big three like that. I think they want to go for more of a younger core, more of a shooting core because they really have to. LeBron James is not getting any younger. Anthony Davis is literal glass. And we saw what happened. Like, dude, I'm not kidding you. I have not owned 2K22. Like, I'm usually like all over like the new NBA game. Like, but I was playing 21 a lot last year. I got the Xbox Series S and I got Game Pass. Started playing 2K22. Do a fantasy draft. And Russell Westbrook fell so far down in my draft that he's currently my sixth man. And Russell Westbrook's great in 2K. We'll say that. But back to the trade scenario here. Russell Westbrook is a very interesting player. I feel like the Lakers like set him up for failure. I mean, let's be honest about that. The Lakers were like setting him up for failure. And let's go over talk about the Jazz side of things. Like Lakers, you get rid of your expiring Russell Westbrook deal, clear up a bunch of money, and you get a couple of role players. In Jordan Clarkson, the main one. I'm trying to remember who the other dude was, but still, Jordan Clarkson, like that dude can ball. And I think the Lakers want anything other than Westbrook. Like the Lakers, they know, like they're like, we cannot run this back with Westbrook. Like Darvin Ham, the Lakers head coach, I heard something the other day that he was thinking about dropping if Westbrook were to come back next year. He said that he thinks that Russell Westbrook, he might not even have him in the starting five, which is insane. Like how much of a downfall it was for the Lakers or for Westbrook. And then look, like Westbrook got the Lakers, or like he just kind of fell downhill with the Lakers, man. Like, unfortunately, like there's always questions of Westbrook's game, but he just did not pan out on the Lakers, and it's not getting him the love that like the Russell Westbrook we used to know and love to watch. The Jazz, holy crap, if this goes through, they're going to be fun to watch in a couple of years. They are cracking up the draft picks. Like you got like 4 for Gobert, and that's another thing I forgot to mention. I think the Lakers are going to have to give up their like only 2 firsts until like 2030, the 2027 and 2029 first round draft picks. I think that's how it went. In the rumors, I seen a couple different proposals. So like they could have to give up draft compensation just to get off of Westbrook's contract, which is kind of wild how it came to kind of bite them in the butt. Cause like the Lakers, like they traded for AD, gave up draft picks. Westbrook gave up draft picks. And now like there hasn't been success with it. Like the Lakers had the bubble championship, but you know, that was Fugazi. I didn't even think it was Fugazi until like I was like, okay, 1 year. I mean, LeBron at 80, like, okay, it's 1 year. Like they'll be back next, like, and then they trade for Westbrook. And then I was like, nah, okay, yeah. And I was like, and then I was like, after this season, I was like, maybe the bubble was a little bit like because there was like all these different challenges that like during the bubble you had to go through. I mean, like the only really like you got the rest. Like it's the I feel like the Lakers would never won if they didn't have like the 3 months in. It's like that like that's what I could say is fraudulent. But I mean, shoot, being in the bubble was probably really dang hard. So like it's still like an interesting thing for me to talk about, but I still think like look. But anyways, the Jazz are going to be fun to watch in a couple of years. Like shoot, they're piling up draft picks like it's like they're pieces of chocolate. Like they're going to be loaded up, and I feel like the Jazz kind of had to go in a little bit of a redirection. There's nothing wrong with that. Like they've had the Rudy Gobert, Spida Mitchell duo for a long time now. They've had Rudy Gobert on their team for a long time now, and unfortunately for them, winning was not like they weren't making it very far. Like they lost to the Clippers in 2021, lost to Max 2022. Like haven't made it past the second round. So the Jazz like, well, why not reboot, right? And I mean, it's rumored. I don't know if it's going to happen, but this trade, and they're going to trade Donovan Mitchell over to the New York Knicks, and they're going to get a lot of picks for that. You know, some role players. I think like Reddish is going to be someone's going to be over in that trade. A couple of like the Knicks backups or like younger dudes like Obi Top, like stuff like that. Like they got to give up a pretty big package to get Donovan Mitchell, but I think the reward is there, right? Like obviously the Jazz are going to be in for it. They're going to be ready to go, and the Knicks are going to be in for like the Knicks. I don't think they're going to win, but it's definitely like win the championship because that East is kind of crazy. Like Celtics are only getting better, especially with the move of Malcolm Brogdon. The Sixers are interesting. Like the East is very interesting at the moment. So if like the Knicks were to trade for Spida Mitchell, I don't know if like they'd win it all. I think it would improve their roster and improve their chances, but I don't think it's a for sure W. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. It feels good to be back. It really does. You know, I know I've been gone for exactly a month. I only have a week left where I am now, and I'm moving, going over to college. So you're gonna see a way different background. Who knows, like way different studio setup in about a week. I don't know. I think I'm gonna get one more show out before then. I'm not gonna say this is my last show before I head off to college, or because I need to get back on the grind. I want to get back on the grind. Like I want to set a goal. I don't know what it is yet. I got to think about it. Make it a good goal. You know, you can't set bad goals. But I want to set a goal to grow, to set more episodes, and to improve my brand, the Emmett Douglas brand, the Blindside Sports brand. So whatever that is, I mean, just stay tuned, right? Because you'll see it. You'll either see a quality improvement of the shows. I want to do that, and you're gonna see more episodes. So this has been Blindside Sports, a very, very fun episode today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to show us some love. Go follow all the socials. I'll have them down below. The Instagram is Emmett Nosey. That's my personal one. That's why I post like pictures of me and stuff like that. You know, you see what my personal life's like. I don't care. It's public. The account's public. I don't like you can see what I do, right? All the cool stuff I do. My Twitter's MNOC04. The show's Twitter, Blindside Sports, or Blindside Pod 11. Instagram, Blindside Sports 00. TikTok, Blindside Sports 7. I just like, I really need to go through, like I say this, but I need to go through and make all the usernames like the same, because when I mess it up, there's no way y'all are getting it right. So I'll do that. I'll have that right by next episode. So yeah, I really had a good time making this episode. And thank you guys for listening and showing support. Stay tuned for more solo episodes mixed in with some interviews. I'm working on getting certain people for certain teams, like who cover certain teams, to come on the show. Like, for example, like someone who covers like the Browns. I've been reaching out to, want to get someone like that on the show to kind of help preview some teams. We're a month away from the season. And I know I'm an all sport podcast, but I know this picks up in August. Like, it really does. Like February to August, like we've had our fair share of episodes, but now I want to make this football season different. All right. This has been Blindside Sports. Emmett Douglas with you. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the baseball. We're like a week away from preseason action being across your TVs. Enjoy, don't rage too much at your favorite team, and have a good night. See ya.